today's video we are going to take a look at the external anatomy of the frog here, preparing us for our dissection that we're going to be doing over this tomorrow. If we're looking at external anatomy, we have two different views that we've been drawing in class that we're going to be able to put some different information on. Here at the top we're looking at the side view of the frog, and then down here we're going to be taking a look at some of these internal structures of the mouth. First thing that we put on our diagram that we did in class is that our frog is going to be able to breathe through its skin. And this has the name of cutaneous respiration. Basically, we see their skin is going to be thin and have lots of blood vessels on it. If they keep it moist and covered in mucus, this oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange can happen right through the skin. Other ways the frog can breathe, we see that there are going to be two openings on the anterior end of our frog here, and these openings are called the external nares. And basically that's a fancy name for nostrils. If we continue back, we see the eye is covered with a nictitating membrane. And this membrane acts like goggles, and it's going to protect the eye. It's going to be clearish so the frog can see as it's swimming underwater without having anything get in its eye. Right behind the frog's eye, we're going to see another opening here, and this is going to be the tympanic membrane. Basically, this is the frog's eardrum, so it's going to be able to take sound and turn it into a nerve impulse. We see the frog has the adaptation of webbing for swimming. And I think that's all that we added on the top picture here. Now, if we're going to our bottom picture, what we have is the frog's mouth, and we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut through the jawbone, and we're going to open up the mouth and we're going to pin it back so that way we can see some of these external structures found inside of the mouth. If we're looking here, we're going to see the tongue is going to be attached at the front of the jaw. I'm going to slide my picture up so you can see this here. This is for the frog to be able to extend its tongue and flick the food back into its mouth where it's going to swallow its food whole. The way that it's going to swallow its food is we have this muscle called the pharynx, which you guys probably remember talking about with the earthworm. And this pharynx has an opening called the gullet, where food is then going to be passed to the stomach. Directly in front of our pharynx and our gullet, we're going to see another opening that is going to be called the glottis. And this is the opening to the lungs. So we're going to see air is going to be passed down this tube. To get air into the mouth, though, we see from the external nares, there are going to be openings up on the top jaw here called the internal nares. And this is going to allow the frog to breathe with its mouth shut. Near the back of the throat here, we're going to see the opening from the tympanic membrane. We're going to follow that down to an opening inside the mouth for the eustachian tubes. This is just going to connect the eardrums to the throat. We see the frog is going to have some teeth. They're not going to be sharp because it swallows its food whole, but it does have these little nubs on the top part of its jaw called maxillary teeth. And then two larger nubs on the inside of its mouth here that are going to be the vomerine teeth. Let's see. I think this is all that we have to draw inside the mouth, but one other thing that we can add to our picture here is how we can determine the sex of our frog, and that's going to be looking at the thumb pads here. I'm over-exaggerating the thumb pads here. If we have a swollen and gorged thumb pad here, this is going to show us that we're looking at a male. If the thumb pad is not going to be enlarged, we're looking at a female. Again, take a look around at other people's frogs before you tell me what the sex of your frog is, because sometimes the female's thumb pad will look large, but compared to someone who has a male, you're going to notice it is going to be a little bit smaller. And this is what we have for external anatomy. If we flip our paper over, we can look at our internal anatomy. Basically, this view that we've drawn in class, we've used our scissors and we've cut across the waistline of our frog, and we've cut across the neckline, and we've unbuttoned the shirt and we've pinned it open. Now, if we don't cut deep enough, we're going to just cut through the skin and pin that back. And if we do, that's okay, because on the skin, we're going to see there's going to be lots of blood vessels. And these blood vessels are here to help with the cutaneous respiration, so oxygen diffusing straight through the skin is going to go into these blood vessels. But we want to make sure we cut through the muscle and pin the muscle back too, so that way we can start to see some of these organs on the inside that are going to look like us. Now we see that the large organ inside of our frog is going to be the liver, which is there to help break down fats and kind of break down toxins too. If we flip the liver back, we're going to see this small little green-like sac here, and that's the gallbladder. And the gallbladder is going to store bile that the liver makes, and it's going to help with digestion. Kind of underneath and then surrounding the liver here, we're going to see a J-shaped organ, and this is going to be the stomach. Just like your stomach, it's going to help with digestion, breaking down food. Unlike your stomach, though, it has internal folds inside of it that is going to be called rugae. That basically just allows the stomach to expand. If we're following the stomach down, we see it's going to go to the small intestine, and then there's going to be a pretty obvious difference in the intestine when we go from the small to the large. So here we have our small intestine. I'm just going to call it small I for labeling. And then down here, our large intestine. Now the small intestine has something really cool, which it has this saran wrap looking material on it that's going to act like a connective tissue, and it's going to be full of blood vessels to absorb the nutrients. And this connective tissue has the special name of mesentery. And it basically just holds the small intestines together. If we keep following down our digestive tract here, so stomach with the rugae, small intestine with the mesentery, our large intestine, we'll see that everything's finally going to make its way to the cloaca, which is one opening that's going to act as an exit for both digestive waste, urinary waste, and then also for gametes. So sperm and egg are all going to exit through this one opening. Let's see, what else can we draw here? Something we forgot to draw. When we first open up our frog, sitting on either side here, we're going to see there will be some fat bodies, which kind of look like spaghetti. And these are going to be here for energy storage. And basically, if we have a lot of fat bodies, we're just going to remove them and get them out of the way so we can see some of the other stuff, because they start to get in the way. Okay, looking down here, we might need to roll the stomach and the small intestine out of the way. We're going to see a little red bean-shaped organ just on one side, and that's going to be the spleen. And the spleen is here to make red blood cells. And if we kind of get rid of the small intestine and the large intestine, pretty much almost to the spine of our frog, we're going to see some longer oval-shaped organs here that are going to be kind of dark reddish brown in color, and these are going to be the kidneys. and they're going to filter the blood and make urine. Now, before the urine makes its way to the cloaca, we see that we're going to have a stretchy bladder kind of hanging out down here that's going to hold the urine until it's ready to be released. Let's go ahead and put some gonads on our picture here. If we have a female, we're going to see that her ovaries are kind of going to look like ramen noodles, and they're going to go down either side or both sides here. And their job is to make eggs. Now, if you're lucky, your frog is going to be filled with eggs if you have a female. Probably won't get to see any of this internal structures until we get the eggs out of the way. If she's reproducing, the ovaries are going to be much larger. It's going to look kind of like cooked ramen noodles. If she's not filled with eggs, they're going to be much smaller and look like uncooked ramen noodles. Now, if we have a boy, down near the kidneys, kind of near the spleen, but instead of seeing a red organ, we're going to see two small whitish yellow organs down here, and these are going to be the testes then that are going to make sperm. All right, our last little bit that we need to add to our picture. Probably going to have to remove the liver to see these structures. We're going to have our three-lobed heart, or a three-chambered heart. Looks kind of something like this. And by the heart, we're then going to see these darker gray, kind of stretchy organs here, and these are going to be the lungs. So the blood's going to then pump blood from the heart to the lungs, then to the rest of the body. And I think this is all that we have to add to our picture. Make sure you guys go back and follow along with the PowerPoint that I have posted in Classroom for you. You can see the actual picture, not just a hand-drawn diagram. If you guys want to come in at 7:45 and do some review with me, I'll be here. I'll see you guys then.